Before we start, I'd like to make sure everyone is signed in for this meeting at the back entrance to the room. If you've not, please do so because it must be on the record. I'm Robert Tanner. The other board member tonight is Richard Hoke. I'd like to introduce the following members. We have Matthew Puz, Zoning and Development Officer, Julie Maggio, Assistant Zoning and Development Officer, Tamara Doxey, Court Reporter, and then after the presentation by the appellant, the board will hear from those in question of the appeal, those in favor, and those opposed. Any document or evidence that's presented must be kept for a period of 60 days for our records. And after all the presentations are made, the board will recess. We'll then reconvene and make our decisions. The board has 45 days to render a decision, but they're usually made this evening. If you do not care to wait for the decision, you may call the zoning officer in the morning after 8:30 a.m. I'd now ask that everyone please stand to be sworn in. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Please answer, I do. And then we need to introduce the solicitor, David Rhodes. Would you speak on the fact there's two of us here tonight?
Yes. So the board tonight consists of two members. When we have two members, that could result in a situation where we have a tie vote. For purposes of what everybody is here for tonight, requesting relief from the board, any relief requires a majority vote. So in this case would require 2 votes. So a split vote of 1-to-1 would effectively result in the denial of the request. So we wanted to make sure everybody understands that and has no objection to this proceeding going on with 2 board members. I think Mr. Tanner will have you confirm on the record when you come up for your particular hearing that you understand and are willing to proceed with the hearing with the 2 board members that we have present.
Your option, if you were not, would be to wait until the following month when there may be 3 board members available. So we'll handle that on a case-by-case basis. So the first appeal is 25-19, Gerald and Christina Campbell for property located at 104 Kelso Drive. If you please come up. At the podium, please, and then state your name and address.
My name's Gerald Campbell. My address is 3140 Lakefront Drive. And should I just proceed with what I'm asking?
Yeah, so
I've never done this before.
Sure. So the reason why you were denied is it's a single-family dwelling detached is not a permitted use in the PI district.
Yes. Anybody who's familiar with Kelso Woods, it's a sort of a historic little sleepy community on the top of the hill overlooking Lake Erie. And it's an area that is almost all single-family homes. If you go and look, and they're mainly cottages, but I mean, there's from one end to the other of cottages, everything from very fancy to very like it was in the 40s. I bought the lot on 104 Kelso Drive. It just seemed like a good opportunity for me for many reasons. Number one is that it has roads on 3 sides of it. There's Kelso on the north side. It is, I'm thinking of what's the name of that? Somebody help me out the name. Bank, thank you. Bank, and on one side is Kelso Drive, and on the other side is West Kelso Drive. And there's just one cottage behind me that borders on the property. Before I bought it, I had Jim Welka, he was a surveyor, look at it to determine, well, is this big enough to even build anything on? And he figured it out, and with all the setbacks, I plan on meeting every setback that Mill Creek would want, all the restrictions of Mill Creek would require, and you could build a place a little under 1,000 square feet on it. So it's not like a grand palace of any sort, but maybe I'm telling too much if anybody cares to know, but I have 4 kids raised in Mill Creek, and 2 of my kids are out of town, and I foresee a day them coming back. You know, they're sort of wondering their way back to Erie like a lot of us did. And so so I'm requesting that we are granted the variance to put a place in that area, build a cottage in that area. And right now, I don't have final drawings, anything like that, but I got an idea in my mind what I would like to build, depending upon what the builder says it costs. And that's one of the big factors. The other thing I think of is I would like to also use it as a way to get some of my kids to decide they really want to come back to the area after all. And it's sort of a selfish thing, but that's sort of my own thoughts of it, of the cottage.
Okay. So, Matt Puz, can you speak to, if this is not a permitted use, what are the permitted uses in this district?
Right. Yes, so the Presque Isle Gateway District permits such uses. Do you want me to read them all, or just like a general overview?
In general, at least, yeah, because if it's not a single-family detached dwelling and it is a residential area, what is actually,
Okay, so regarding residential, mixed-use occupancy is permitted, which would, in this case, would be single-family dwelling attached, row houses, three or more, or multifamily dwellings, which is, again, 3 or more plus a commercial component. Other than that, such uses as amusement parks, convenience stores, restaurants, offices, shopping centers, retail, theaters.
so the fact that it allows multifamily would be more like an R2 or R3, a higher density?
Correct.
And in most cases, in an R2 or 3, most R1 uses are also permitted.
Let me double check that. I know in R2 it is. Let me just double check R3. In R3, it's multifamily or single-family attached. Single-family dwellings are not permitted.
Okay.
The only real use that I could find for this property was single family. I mean, I sort of,
Yeah.
when I saw you have so many parking spots, no way would anybody who's here, would I ever consider anything commercial or multi-unit, because there's no physical way to do it, even if you wanted to. And I don't want to. That's not what our intention is, and that's not what we want to do. And I just can't even come up with another usage for it.
With the size of the lot, I don't know
Yeah.
how you'd have a
Yeah.
multifamily, you know, like you're saying, it's a smaller home as it is, so yeah, I understand.
Yeah, it's not a gigantic project. And anybody who knows, I don't know if you're familiar with Tim Colvin, but Tim built a house for us, and he does an exceptional good job. He's big on clean. He's big on having respect for the neighbors while projects are going on. He's the kind of guy you want building in your neighborhood. So I recognize the tightness of everything down there, and everybody's like lives right in the same neighborhood, and we're like butted up against each other. So respect for the community that you're coming into is a real important part to me, and that's why I asked Tim if he would consider doing it, and
Okay.
building it for us.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions.
Mr. Campbell, real quickly, you were here earlier when you heard me explain that we have a board consisting of 2 members.
Yeah.
And do you consent to proceeding with your hearing tonight with the 2 board members?
I consent to it. I recognize what's being said. And what would be well, I don't even want to think about it. Never mind. Yeah, I'll just consent.
Okay.
Well, your choice would be to continue the hearing and
Another
come
month.
back on another date.
No,
with the
I
full-
consent. I consent.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do you
All
need-
right. I think that's all I had for you right now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Should I just go back and sit down?
Yeah, I'll let you know if we need anything else from you. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on this? Please come on up.
Good evening. My name is Tim Shuttleworth, and my wife and I own property in Kelso Woods, where this subject property is located. I've known the Campbells for a number of years, so I'd like to just touch on a few points. One is that the Campbells would be a lovely addition to Kelso Woods. They are my neighbor at Kelso Beach, and you couldn't have better neighbors. They're considerate to all the neighbors around them, and I'm sure they'll be very considerate through the construction as well as the occupancy and the use of the property. They're excellent people to have for neighbors. Secondly, on the property itself, I know you have R1, R2, R3, I don't know how many Rs you have, but that is a single family neighborhood house. You can talk about your zoning, but what it is, when you look at the neighborhood and you look at the buildings, it's a single family neighborhood house. My two properties are 800 square feet. They're 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. That's what most of the properties are. So you can label it something else, but what the properties are single family homes. I think it would be great for that property to be developed. I think it would only raise the value for every other homeowner present, and I support it wholly. My wife, who's on the deed, does likewise, and so we would like to see this exception granted.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Any questions?
I don't think so.
Thank you.
Please come on up.
Hello, my name is Mike Hecht. I own the property at 134 Kelso Drive, and I'm the secretary for the homeowners association that's associated with the property under question. I just wanted to let you know that our association is a private association. It's a not-for-profit operation. We handle our own road maintenance. The township does not support that. We handle our own lighting and our own snow removal. So I'm not sure that the zoning is actually correct for us because we're a private operation, and the lots are designed basically to support single-family homes. They're very small, as you can see, and the request for the building is a very small building because that's all that will really fit on the lot. And as a representative of the Homeowners Association, I just wanted to let you know that we do support Mr. Campbell's request because it's consistent with the buildings and the lot sizes that are associated with our Homeowners Association.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Please come on up.
Good evening. My name is Mary Murray. My primary residence is 104 Oregon, which is also, it's the farthest west point of the Kelso Woods Association. So I am next door to Crystal Point, just to give you a reference. I do have a property at 117 East Kelso Drive. It is 640 square feet, and I was the former owner of the lot that Dr. Jerry Campbell, a veterinarian, purchased from me. Matt and I met numerous times to go over the restrictions for the Presque Isle Gateway. I do believe I support this wholeheartedly. Matt and I discussed it numerous times. He was very generous. He met with me at least 3 times to no avail. What I'd like to say is this is a historic community that was founded in the 1940s, and much like Ferncliff near the yacht club, it is a historic community. It was founded as single-family homes. There was, what Jerry did not mention, was when I purchased the property, there was a house on that site that was demolished, what was it, Jerry, 2006? And he has a picture of that, by the way, to show you if you would like to see it. So, and when I purchased the property, I made a point of finding out, I hired a plumber, there is water on the site, and that is what it was a single-family home. And I do believe that the Mill Creek Zoning Board, in this desire to promote tourism, the Presque Isle Gateway District, I think everyone has done their very best job, but I think it was just really maybe an oversight, because this is just a little pocket that's secluded below 8th Street. The restrictions, I have them memorized, Matt's given me copies. I could have, basically, the zoning board allowed for the use of what is already there, a laundromat, a church. I even thought of getting my own little church ID to build something there. A laundromat, a church, a hair salon. None of these are consistent with what is in that
Sure.
Kelso Woods Association.
So just as a little sidebar, we did not write the zoning,
Right, but I'm
any of
just-
this, so we don't necessarily have to agree or
Right.
disagree with
Yeah.
that part of it, just so you know where it came from as the township comes to that. So we're an independent body that can hear these things without being the ones that actually authored it or have an opinion on it.
Correct. And
To
I'm
basically
not-
hear your concerns. So you're in favor of it.
Yes, I am,
right?
and just to conclude, I do think everybody tried to do the best job that they could to account for all those businesses along West 8th Street from, I don't know, what is it, Pittsburgh Avenue or Frontier Park all the way over. But this is a pocket community, and I think it was just a honest oversight. And this is what this community is. I've been a former officer as well, and I wholeheartedly support this application, having formerly owned the property and was unable to build, and being a very active member in our community. So I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name is Dutch Purves. I live at 157 Oregon. I'm not going to go through everything that everyone else did. I just want to state my support for Mr. Campbell. He's a blessing and what word am I looking for? Just good for the community. He's a good guy. The structure and his contractor build nice buildings, and it'll be an asset to our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Veronica Dunn. I live at 205 Oregon Avenue in the Kelso Woods subdivision, and I just wholeheartedly support having it rezoned to allow a single-family home. That really would be its best use. Any of those other uses that you mentioned really would not fit in and I think go well in that area. So,
Okay, thank you.
I'm Mary Ann Freed. I live at 112 Kelso Drive, so I would be, I'm the second one up from the empty lot, and I've lived there 40 years this past June, so I lived there when there originally was that little other cottage there, and I would welcome them to our community.
Okay,
I'm all for it.
thank you.
And I'm also on the board, so we're always looking for more board members.
Anyone else? Okay, we're going to move on to the next item. So we have appeal number 25-20, and this is Jason Heinzel, 1116 Bellevue Drive. It's in an R2 zoning district, and front yard setback in R2 is 25 feet. You're proposing 14 feet, asking for an 11-foot variance. And first matters, you do understand that there are just two of us here this evening,
I do.
and you are okay with that?
I am.
Thank you.
So as you stated, my name is Jason Heinzel. I live at 1116 Bellevue Drive. And the original request, I think, was denied because there was a misinterpretation of the zoning requirement. When I originally came up with the idea to do the project itself, I was under the assumption that it was 25 feet from the end of the road, whereas it's 25 feet from the center of the road to the property line and then 25 feet back from that. So like I said, my name is Jason Heitzel. I live at 1116 Bellevue Drive, where myself and my family have resided since 2006. Requesting the zoning variance of 11 feet south towards Bellevue Drive to construct a 24.5-foot wide, 56-foot long addition attached to the current residence on the east side of the property. This project consists of a 2-car garage, mudroom, kitchen, and basement expansion. It also would include moving a set of basement access stairs in the current residence behind the garage within the mudroom, allowing the construction of the current living room and kitchen, a consolidation of the current living room and kitchen into one living room. This variance request would align my residence with the 2 residential structures to the immediate east and 1 residential structure to the west, which would enhance the visual continuity of the Bellevue Drive streetscape. This project is both appraised and fully funded. If I were to comply with the front setback requirement that is currently in place, I would then be forced to shift the entire project north, which would impede upon the rear setback. The requested 11-foot variance is needed to avoid this secondary conflict and allow reasonable use of the property. The topography of my lot presents practical challenges. The front of my residence is level with the front yard, and the back of my residence is level with my basement, so I have a slope on both sides. Therefore, I have hills on the east and west, like I mentioned, and it makes it unsuitable for expansion without costly structural changes or disruption to site drainage. These grade changes are unique to my lot and not within my control, and an approved variance would allow full construction accompanied by proper drainage of natural rainwater and reduce further erosion, which is already occurring on the east side of my property. Throughout the neighborhood, there is a clear pattern of at least a dozen homes that are closer than the 25-foot setback requirement. This variance request is consistent with the built environment and would not introduce new or unusual conditions to the area. This project has been discussed with my general contractor, Beth Osborne, who agrees that it would align with the adjacent properties. The requested variance will not alter the essential character of the neighborhood, nor will it negatively impact public health, safety, or welfare. The addition would be in harmony with the surrounding homes and meet all other zoning requirements. This request is not self-created, as the hardship stems from pre-existing conditions such as the home's original placement, adjacent structures, and lot topography. I am seeking only the minimal relief necessary to allow for a modest and contextually appropriate addition that would both align my home with the adjacent homes and homes similarly placed within the neighborhood and add value and aesthetics to the entire neighborhood. If a variance is granted, all measures will be taken to ensure that the proposed addition will not exceed the frontage of the structures in place to the immediate east of my property and allow me to begin construction promptly. Thank you for your time and attention. Pending any questions, that is all I have.
Okay. So Matt, I have a question, because it's quite obvious seeing the aerial that the other homes are closer to the road. Has there been a change since those were built, or do we know why?
Apologize. 2022, when we updated the zoning ordinance, we went to a 25-foot setback in R2. I believe is actually a little more restrictive, but if I recall, those the homes must have predated the prior zoning ordinance with setbacks. They're basically legal non-conforming structures with regards to the front yard setback.
The properties to the east, the 2 that I'm referring to that I'm trying to match, were built in 2004. And my structure was built in 1993.
Okay. And can you confirm that the requested relief that he's asking for would keep them in line with the adjacent homes, or what that setback was at the time?
Those homes are set back 15 foot from the front property line, so the request, if granted, would put the addition in line with those homes.
Okay. Any questions?
No.
Yeah, I understand. Do you have any questions? No, I do. No, I don't think I have any questions for you right now.
Perfect.
Okay,
Thank you for your time.
thank you. Is anyone in the audience who'd like to speak on this? Okay, moving on. Application appeal number 25-21. This is a signage permit, Mill Creek Township School District, for property located at 901 West 54th and 1001 West 54th in a R1 zoning district. Maximum square footage of a monument sign is 32 square feet for conforming non-residential use, proposing 40.42 square feet, asking for an 8.42 square feet variance.
You all still see this? Clear? Okay. Good evening. My name is John Finn. I'm with HHSDR Architects, Engineers. I'm here on behalf of Mill Creek Township School District. I'm also joined by Mr. Aaron O'Toole, Business Manager for the school district this evening. You mentioned, yes, we are requesting a variance for the overall size of sign for a electronic marquee sign at the J.S. Wilson Middle School. Chestnut Hill has an existing sign there that we're going to be replacing with a sign of similar size as well.
So this sign, so you're putting two signs?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And the one at Chestnut Hill would be the same size as what's existing?
Yes. Yeah. Go ahead, Matt, if you don't mind.
Correct. The existing sign they're replacing, it will be 1 for 1.
Okay, so that size is a 1-for-1.
Correct.
Okay.
So in general, just the overall makeup of the sign, we would have a masonry, a brick and stone base pedestal. Then above that, we would have our electronic message center in a banner sign with the overall, the school name to pronounce the location and to show the school's identity right there at 54th. And then those would be located 25 feet back from the road, and they would be 7'10" tall, so underneath the 8-foot height requirements.
Okay.
In general, let me see here, I'm sorry. Yeah, this would also match two other signs or be similar to two other signs that the school district has already got at McDowell Senior and McDowell Intermediate High Schools. For electronic message centers, it'd be a standardization for the district, which would allow them to, have a similar branding, the similar identity across the district buildings in general. In addition to that, we also have, as a part of the request for this, some pre-existing conditions that we're trying to work around. Here you can kind of see the two signs at McDowell Intermediate and at McDowell Senior High School. But along West 54th, because of the Chestnut Hill pool there's a lot of congested facilities. So we have the pool building, a shed adjacent to the pool building here, adjacent to where we're erecting the Chestnut Hill sign, and then also a lot of tree cover in there. So a larger sign is going to give a greater identity to the school with the cresting the hill in the one-way direction into Chestnut. You can actually see the sign right there in front of you and know that that's where the school is located. And then as you are coming down Chestnut in the northeast direction, you would then be able to see a bigger sign there at the main entrance drive for J.S. Wilson. In the other direction, coming southwest, you do have a clear view of the J.S. Wilson sign at that location, but there's the shed you can kind of see right here in this image. It does obscure a part of the sign as you approach it, so you only have a limited time to actually see that. So that's the borderline need for the request at that point.
So the reason for the request of a larger size is based upon sight lines and
Yes.
crest of hill topography?
and also the standardization of the signage for the district, so it's easier for maintenance and serviceability by using the same signs they already have in operation at this point.
Okay. Yeah, I understand that. I don't really, I mean, I have a copy of your presentation here, so I understand it all.
I don't have any questions.
No. Do you have anything?
Just to get on the record again, you've heard us ask the other applicants, you consent to proceeding with the two-member board tonight?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I think that's all I have for you right now.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on this? Okay. Next up is 25-22. This is Fast Food Enterprises 3 LLP at 2872 West 26th Street. It's an MU2 zoning district. A non-conforming structure moved for any reason for any distance shall conform to the requirements of the zoning district. And the issue here is height.
Correct.
So what are we lacking by, I mean, what is the proposed height? I mean, I know we need a dimensional variance, but what is the amount?
The current, the structure in question is a flagpole. The maximum height of any flagpole in any district is 35 foot, and I believe it's 85 foot.
75.
Sorry, I apologize. 75 foot, so it'd be a 40-foot variance.
Okay.
Good evening, Mike Sanford, 4721 Atlantic Avenue. And we are aware there's 2 board members, and we're okay with that. Thank you.
Okay.
So as I said, I'm Mike Sanford from Sanford Surveying, here on behalf of the application, and we're here tonight to present information in support of the relocation of the non-conforming flagpole structure located at 2872 West 26th Street. The subject property is commonly known as Burger King Restaurant. It's on the corner of 26th and Peninsula. Burger King Restaurant. The existing Burger King restaurant is slated for removal next year and replacement with a new Burger King restaurant. Our submitted zoning hearing board application included a sketch of showing the proposed building in relation to the existing site features such as the existing building, the culverted stream running underneath the property, existing driveways, parking, drive-through lanes. The site plan also shows the location of the current flagpole and the proposed relocation on the site. We understand that a land development plan approval is required for this project, but the zoning hearing board approval is part of that process. So we'd like to, that's why we're here this evening. As outlined in our application, relief is requested from the zoning hearing board as for a dimensional variance to allow the relocation of the existing non-conforming height flagpole on the property. The existing flagpole is approximately 75 feet tall and needs to be relocated in conjunction with the complete reconstruction of the Burger King restaurant. No increase in the nonconformity is sought, nor is any new nonconformity created. In other words, only the flagpole's location is being moved, slightly west. As you know, your zoning hearing board's authorized to vary from strict application if the strict application would deprive the owner of reasonable use of the land. So if it's okay with you, I'd like to go through the 5 criteria enumerated in your ordinance. First criteria is that the property has unique physical conditions. This property is traversed, as shown in our sketch, by a large underground storm sewer culvert that passes diagonally through the property from the southwest property corner to the northeast. In fact, the existing building is built over top of that culvert. In considering site plans of how to redevelop the property, we looked at quite a few options for the new building's placement so the new building would not be located over the culvert. But given a variety of factors such as a new double drive-through, improved parking lot vehicular flow, the existing driveways to the property, and increased drive-through queue length, we found that the new building's location needs to be reasonably close to the existing building's location, only shifted north a little and west a little. The new building would be shifted north and west. So as you can imagine, for the convenience of patrons, parking spaces are needed at the front of the building, facing 26th Street. And as you can see on the exhibit I prepared, the existing flagpole's location is situated within one of those proposed parking spaces. As a result, we're seeking your approval to move the flagpole approximately 20 feet west, as shown, to allow the relocated flagpole to be in a parking cap island. As mentioned, the parcel is encumbered by a large culverted stream that passing diagonally through it, and other factors which present the unique hardship condition on the property. Second criteria is that because of these physical conditions, there's no possibility the property can be developed in strict conformity. So as I mentioned, the site plan was developed over multiple iterations with the architect and structural engineer to develop a plan for the new building that could span over the culvert in accordance with DEP's regulations. The existing flagpole needs to be relocated as part of these site constraints. So because the property cannot be developed in strict conformity with the ordinance, a dimensional variance is required. The next is that the unnecessary hardship has not been created by the applicant. Well, the existing Burger King and flagpole have existed on that property for many years. The zoning ordinance was updated in 2022 and contains a provision that flagpoles should not exceed 35 foot in height. Interestingly, the zoning ordinance also states that flagpoles are considered signs. I don't quite understand that, how a flag is a sign, but it does enumerate 3 conditions with flagpoles. Number 1, a flag shall not contain any commercial messaging. That's not what we have here. This is an American flag, no commercial messaging, so we comply. Number 2, flags and flagpoles should not be located within the road right-of-way. This one is not. It's on private property currently, and if we move it 20-some feet west, it'll still be on private property. And number 3, flags shall have a maximum height of 35 feet. Flagpoles shall have a maximum height of 35 feet. The existing flagpole height exceeds 35 feet, and therefore, by definition, it's an existing non-conforming structure. So the applicant desires to relocate this existing non-conforming flagpole structure, but the zoning ordinance requires us to come before this board seeking that approval. So the hardship was not caused by the applicant. The fourth criteria is that if authorized, the variance would not alter character of the district or impair adjacent properties or affect public welfare. This property is on 26th and Peninsula, arguably one of the probably highest traffic volumes in our county. The property is right along Sterrettania Road and Peninsula Drive, used by an innumerable amount of tourists on their way to Presque Isle. This flag has been a patriotic feature on this property for many years. The applicant's request is just to relocate this flagpole slightly west, and it does not therefore alter the character of the district or impair any adjacent properties or public welfare. And the final is that this is the minimum variance to afford relief. And as I mentioned, we've done quite a few concept plans and site plans, and this is our minimum relief. So happy to answer any questions you may have.
I don't have any questions for that. Pretty straightforward. Everything you presented, I understand.
Questions?
Good, thank you. Anyone in the audience like to speak on this?
Hello, I'm Tim Parker, representing the family. We're the owners of the property, and we're very proud to have Burger King as our tenant that's been there a long time. They're going to beautify the corner even more than it is now. We're very proud of the patriotic flag that's there. It is our flag. It's on the busiest corner in Erie, and we need to have that flag there. It's beautiful. Everybody sees it. The tourists coming down to Presque Isle, and we're fully behind it. And the commitment the Burger King has with us for the long term, it's a wonderful thing. And the new building is going to be, it's just going to really enhance the corner, and hopefully we can keep the other corners getting enhanced also. So hopefully everybody's for this, and thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Moving on to appeal number 25-23. AW Blessings LLC at 2904 Pittsburgh Avenue. Looking for a change of non-conforming use from a business office to a building trade/light industry.
Hi,
Hi.
my name is Kim Tinko, and I am here to see about changing that at 2904 Pittsburgh Avenue.
Can I have you pull the microphone down just a little bit?
Better?
Yep, thank
Okay.
you.
Do you need me to repeat?
No, I think she
Okay.
got it, yeah.
So I'm respectfully requesting the support to changing the use variance to that commercial building to allow both light industrial and business office use. It is currently now, I believe, R1, but it's in a residential area, but it's on Pittsburgh Avenue, in a commercial area, and it is a very unique building. It's had a lot of uses in the past. It is actually built to be a commercial building. There are no bedrooms, there is no shower, like it could never be a residential building. We are looking to have an HVAC company, which is what I own. I'm a woman-owned HVAC company, commercial. So we'd be requiring, I guess, light industrial, just of the nature of our work. The work would not be taking place at this building. That work, obviously, we go out to our customers and take care of it there. So it would just more be storage, deliveries, and then office use for the office staff, which is currently just me right now, so there would not be a lot of traffic. Our service techs, we do have 5 of them. They take their vans, 3 of the 5 take their vans home every night, so those vans would not even be parked there. We would only have 2 that would park there at night and on the weekends, and then during the day, their vehicles would be parked there when they took their van out for the day. Our hours of business would be 7:30 to 4:30. We don't work weekends unless we would be on call, but again, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be out at their businesses of where they're taking care of the problems, unless they're coming to pick up a part or needed something, like there would not be a lot of traffic there. There's plenty of parking.
Okay. And it's all, there's an office spot in the front, which appears to be an office. In the
Yes.
back is warehouse and storage. So this would be warehousing and storage. There'd be no fabrication or work
In
done
the
here?
future, not right now, no. Our goal would be, like, as we get established in maybe a couple years, we'd like to turn that back warehouse area, I don't know if you see a picture of it, there's that back warehouse area, into like sheet metal production, just so that we're not having to sub that out.
Okay.
Again, it's not like loud or, pollution or anything like that. It's bending sheet metal, making ductwork. But that, again, that's not right now, that would be in the future.
Okay.
We're not looking to make any structural changes to the building. It would
Okay.
be useful as is right now. Coincidentally, the actual, right across the street is Famous Supply, which is an HVAC supply house that we utilize. So again, it's in a commercial district already.
Okay. Matt, was this originally built as a commercial structure, or did the zoning change with the last update? Because I've always known it to be a commercial building. I can't remember what was in it before Hanson's, but it's been there for a while.
It was Shandy Shed. Shandy Sheds.
Shanty Sheds?
Yes, yeah, county shows from 1945, it's been warehouse or commercial, but I believe the underlying zoning district has always been R1, so it's been a non-conforming use. I believe there's 6 variances on the property for like expansions or changes of use.
So it's, because it says land use code right now is warehouse. So I mean, that it also says classification C.
Yeah. The county does not have the zoning district on their website,
Okay,
so that's what they're assessing the property as is commercial, but the underlying zoning district's
I see.
single family.
so basically, it's always received variances to do this sort of work?
Yes, when it comes to a change of use, basically, the zoning officer is not authorized to do that. so
Sure.
the-
But it
would
has
be fine.
received variances in the
Correct.
past for this, is how
Yes.
it's done it. Okay.
Correct.
Okay. You have anything?
Questions?
And
I
just,
do consent that there's just the two of you.
Thank you.
perfect, thank you, you've been paying
You're
attention.
welcome.
Thanks. That's all I
Are
have
we
for
good?
you right now.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak on this?
How you doing? Hey, Dave Talbot, 2909 Court Avenue. I'm directly behind the property. The only thing I could ask is that a consideration in the past, there has not been compliance as far as objectionable usage. As you have a shop, you have equipment, ventilation, compressors, fabrication, what have you. You can do what you want, I don't care. But don't dump it into the backyard where I live. That's all I got to say.
Okay.
Like
So,
I said, there
so
was
you're saying
none.
you don't necessarily have an issue with it as long as they keep,
Yeah, long
keep the
as
structure
you,
up and,
Put it out the front.
Yeah.
Let the office listen to it. But yeah, I'm a little sour on that because of past ownership and usage.
okay.
And seems there wasn't any enforcement arm that I could go to. So, I mean, hey, build rocket ships, I don't care. I don't want to hear it.
Okay,
That's all. Otherwise, hey, go for it.
okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Peggy Allen, and I'm the current owner of that building. And the only reason I'm up here is to kind of clarify those couple of questions that you had about
Okay.
the zoning previously. It was standard roofing, like many years, and it was a combined owner who then turned it into shanty sheds, and it was a retail. They had lots of people in and out, things on display, and I had to have it changed from retail to my non-conforming that I've had. So I've been there 3 years, and they're really not doing anything different per se than the business that's in there. In fact, they'll have less vehicles and less employees per se coming in and out of the facility. I had an office staff of 3. She's currently at 1. So there's plenty of space in there for additional office space and, you know, plenty of parking like she's talked about. I had 10 vehicles, parked them all inside the warehouse area for what they're doing. Really is very, very similar to what I have. It's just looking to pass ownership. My husband's in has some health issues, and insurance has caused me to close the business after many years.
Okay.
So, okay,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
Okay, sir?
Hi, I'm Keith Walker, 2216 West 29th Street, where I've lived for the last 31 years. I've seen this property move a few times in this 31 years, and I'm concerned with the change of zoning for that and am opposed because although the HVAC company plans on doing A, B, and C, once this has been changed to light industrial, who knows what future owners might want to do with that property. I also have oppositions from the neighbor to that property to the south, Mike, who said that he's going to be watching online, and is opposed. However, that doesn't do a whole lot of good for you. But I do have a couple of written statements. An interesting thing about this property is on Pittsburgh Avenue, on the west side of Pittsburgh Avenue, and on the east side is City of Erie. So that leaves 9 homes on the east side in the City of Erie that doesn't even have a voice about this right now because they're not Mill Creek residents. However, I did speak to a few of those, and they were opposed. It was only this afternoon that I found out that I could bring in some written statements to help back up what I am conveying from my neighbors. Also, another interesting person is Don Clickett, who lives across the street from me at 2217 West 29th Street and owns the business right across the street on Pittsburgh Avenue, being Clicko Industries. They do wheelchairs and gravestones there. But I have a written statement from him opposing that, and this is interesting because not only does his property border the address is a little confusing. It's post 2004, and in the county it says 2910. But for the reason that we don't want the noise, even back when the shanty sheds were there, they had compressors running all during the day. And if I had my windows open at the house, I could hear the compressor kick on and kick off. Whom shall I give the statements to?
You can bring them here, but I'd like to ask you a question first. Well, at the podium so you can answer. Is your opposition in turning it back to industrial as a whole? Because, with this variance, this is something that we can entertain, giving a variance for specific this HVAC company as it is, and it doesn't have to, can you speak to that?
Well, the variance request is to allow for their proposed use as they have described. So it wouldn't necessarily, the zoning is not being changed, the classification is not being changed. This board can't do that. They can grant a variance for specific relief as described in the application by the owner.
Right, so it wouldn't just open the door that now it's an industrial site and it could be a foundry or something of that nature, which, might have a different noise. I don't know if that changes your opinion.
Well, I was worried about, didn't light industrial also include hazardous materials?
So light industrial, yes, but we wouldn't be changing the zoning if we entertain this. It would be allowing this specific business to do their prescribed business at this site, only that. If another company came in, say it was a plumbing contractor, even though it seems quite similar, they would need a variance themselves for that sort of work. Even though it's similar, this is not changing the zoning, it's granting a specific use to a specific applicant.
And specific times?
As long as they're in the property. And one of the things they stated was their hours, and that's something that we can attach as a special condition as well, that the 7:30 to 3:30 or things of that nature that kind of make it good for all. But it wouldn't be changing it to just an industrial site. Any other use besides this would require another variance. Like they said, there have been 5 or 6 in the past. Every time it changed hands, when it went from industrial to office, which would seem to be less invasive, they still needed a variance because it was different.
Even if it was the same type of company, they would still need a variance because it's another company with a different name, it's correct?
Well, the variance is for the use. So if you grant use for example, warehouse and office space, if another owner wanted to use it for that same use, warehouse and office space, they would not require a variance.
Okay.
But if they wanted to add some other different type of use to it that was inconsistent with residential, they would need another variance.
So I completely understand your concern about just straight industrial, because you say waste or things like that.
Light
Things that-
industrial is listed, and I thought HVAC might be using the hazardous materials. They have the Freon, and I'm not sure what capacity.
Yeah, I can't speak to the exact, I know they've switched chemicals around a lot from Freon to less hazardous items, but I can't speak to that specifically, but I can certainly ask them about those sort of products. But this would be a variance for their direct application, not for all industrial applications.
But wouldn't the light industrial carry on if they were to move on from that property?
No, because the specific use that would be granted would be office space and light warehouse space for HVAC sort of work. So it's quite specific, so that if someone else wanted to come in and, work on cars or something like that, they would have to come in and apply, at which time we would have to entertain that notion.
Would still rather keep things the way they are. May I proceed?
Yep, we can take those up here. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good evening. My name's Ethan Sykes. I'm a Pennsylvania realtor. So I just wanted to, and I appreciate the solicitor clarifying a couple things. The reason we're here this evening, I represent the buyer for the property. So when we went through and clarified the regulations surrounding the property, HVAC, because of how it's categorized, we have to apply for light industrial. There's no way around that. We're not looking to do anything beyond the bounds of what the HVAC company is doing as described. As for refrigerants and whatnot, I'd refer to the current EPA guidelines and how the refrigerant regulations are changing very progressively to become increasingly environmental. I would also just like to state that as a realtor, and I believe a lot of my peers would agree with me, we would classify this as the highest and best use for that property, understanding what's existing there and the structure that is built out on the site. It's not viable, in my opinion, as an R1 use, and I think it would be challenging to get someone to purchase it with the intention of using it for that. So we're under contract, assuming we can get the variance. If not, this will fall through, and I think it sets a precedent that might make it very challenging to sell that property. They're looking to move their business to Mill Creek and activate that space. Not trying to be disruptive, they want to be good neighbors, but it's desirable both for its size and square footage. They're 3-4 years into business at this point. They need to expand. This site is conducive to that, and they're also undertaking the risk that when they go to sell this, it's understood that unless it's a very similar company, you brought up the plumber versus HVAC, which to most plumbers do some form of HVAC, but even that would require a variance, and the potential owners are taking on that risk in order to secure the property. So I just wanted to go on record and explain those couple points. And I appreciate you clarifying that, the variance is very strict and limiting as to what it will allow, and we're not in any way asking for a rezoning or a redistricting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Final one for this evening, 25-24. We're looking for a zoning variance, a parking variance for Nicholas Lombardo. The property is 1727 Hillborn Avenue. Health club is not a permitted use in the I-2 district, and it requires parking space of 17 spaces.
I apologize. May I interject? I spoke with Mr. Lombardo regarding the parking. We have an email correspondence. I said, you need 17 spaces. He told me that he should be able to provide that. So I should have crossed that off. So
So it's not a parking
correct.
at this point. Okay.
Yes. So sorry about the confusion.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Yeah, so my name's Nicholas Lombardo. What we're currently doing, it's a use variance is what we're applying for. I do want to preface all of this with the fact that the issue that's arises, this discrepancy, is 100% an honest oversight. I'm a first-time small business owner and thought everything was kind of doing what we need to do. We thought we were basically operating in compliance with everything. We've been functioning without issue for over a year and a half, being good neighbors to those around us. As soon as this issue was brought to me, Literally the next day after receiving the letter, I was on the phone with Matt over here trying to figure out what needs to be done to go through the proper channels to ensure that everything is in compliance with the township. So what we've got going on is a very small, private, just training facility. It's technically under the classification of a health club per the zoning board. However, it's just a garage-style gym, weightlifting, that's it. There's no saunas, there's no showers, there's no type of utilities that are, required to do those types of things. Like I said, it's very small, we're low impact, no traffic. I pulled these numbers from my software today. On average, we're looking at about 12 visits per day for the month of July. So we have the appropriate parking as discussed, not that that's a topic of contention here, but everybody that comes in, we park in our own property. We're not parking anywhere else. Not really a bother to any of our neighbors. We've never had a formal complaint from anyone at all, at least not that's been brought to our attention. And if something occurred that I'm unaware of, we're happy to do whatever needs to be done to ensure that everybody's happy around us. The gym is home to quite a few veterans, first responders, active military. We just want a quiet place that's kind of out of the way to just lift weights and exercise, focus on developing ourselves, and move on with our day. I do have over 30 letters of support from members of the community, which I'm happy to supply to you guys so that you can review and make whatever decisions you need. So really what it is, we're just kind of out of the way. We're not really bothering anybody. The issue came out of a discrepancy that I was unaware of, and here I am tonight trying to make sure that everything we have is compliant. I do think that one case is pertinent to this. There is precedence for a decision changing what we are classified as an industrial district to a wellness, I guess you could say health club, but really a fitness facility, a small gym. Based on public record, if you look at Appeal 21-1, January 27th of 2021, 1359 Marshall Drive was previously zoned as industrial. Went through a similar process as this, and a variance was granted to allow for a fitness facility in this location. So I do feel that the similarities between these two cases are very prevalent. By granting a variance like this, it would not set a reckless precedent as it runs parallel to the prior case here. So in addition to that, our members do frequent other local businesses that are right next door, including Samurai Sushi, Fresh Monkey, other grocery stores where a lot of these individuals probably wouldn't come to these sides of town to patron those different businesses. So it is a benefit to the community. It's a benefit to the individuals. And like I said, to my knowledge, we're not bothersome to anybody around us. And if we are, I'm more than happy to do whatever is necessary to make everyone happy. The only business that's directly across the street from us is Gerlach's Property Maintenance, which I'm actually under contract with them to do snow removal at the property this upcoming winter. So I don't feel that they have an issue with us utilizing the space. And if there was, I'm more than happy to do whatever needs to be done to make sure that we're not a bother to them. So like I said before, I'm happy to submit all of this stuff to you all of letters, more of a formal documentation of everything here. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them for you.
No, I think you answered everything in your packet here and through your testimony. I don't really have any other questions.
I don't have any questions.
And just to get you on the record, sir, you understand that we have the two board members?
Yes, I do understand, and I do agree with the two board members. I'm
Thank
okay
you.
with it. Do you guys want these?
Yes, please. Okay, thank you. Does anyone in the audience like to speak on this?
Hi, my name's Kylie Gross, and I am a member of the Gearbox. Like Nick said, there's a lot of letters in those packets, but I just wanted to take the opportunity to read mine. I have been involved with the Gearbox from its inception as an idea on paper back in 2023 and witnessed the literal blood, sweat, and tears that have gone into its execution thus far. Every detail has been carefully curated for a reason, and it was a very unfortunate oversight by a first-time small business owner that its location is in a zone that does not allow for operation of a gym. There are several gym options out there in the area. I've tried many, but none of them are quite like what we're doing. To me, it's a safe space, a true judgment-free zone, if you will. In its secluded location where it is right now means that no one bothers us, we don't bother anyone else, we're kind of set back out of the way. Its private nature keeps it small community-like, not meant to be exclusive or keep anyone out, but mostly just to ensure that everyone coming in there is vetted, that they're going to be respectful of each other, the surrounding community, and the equipment, use it safely. As a female, super important. There's no, if you've ever been in a gym, no fear of the stranger that stares too long, that you might come across in a dark parking lot, unwanted photography, things like that happen. There's no strangers at the Gearbox. Everyone knows each other, and it feels like a family. It's just a place where like-minded individuals can get together, have a common goal and a mission, literally lift each other up. It's not just to improve physical health, but also mental well-being and have fun doing it. Its owner, Mr. Lombardo, is someone who's dedicated his career to the health and wellness of others. He's a pharmacist, and he just has no agenda other than sharing his passion and hobby with other members of the community. It's not a commercial operation. There's no membership quota, no profit margins, no impossible to break contracts or any hassle if you decide it's not for you, you want to leave. He listens to member feedback constantly, continuously strives to add value to the property and the insides and the use that we're doing it for. So while the spirit of the Gearbox will live on regardless of location, it would create a significant financial, physical, logistical hardship to relocate, pick up all the heavy weights and equipment that are in there and move it to some place that is in the correct zone. And just in a time when small businesses struggle to survive, and the physical and mental well-being of the community members is super important, I urge you to kindly consider granting this use variance request to allow the Gearbox to continue to operate in its current location, providing a positive outlet for our community members.
Okay,
Thank you.
Is there anyone else like to speak on this? Okay, we're going to take a recess and we'll be back. Okay. Let the record show reconvened at 7:25 approximately. On appeal number 25-19 for property at 104 Kelso Drive, do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So moved. I should say I seconded that
second
motion.
it.
You made the
Second
motion. You made it. I'll second the motion. We all vote.
I got it.
You got it?
Yep.
Messes me up when there's only two of us. Appeal number 25-20 for 1116 Bellevue Drive. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? So moved. On appeal number 25-21, signage permit at 901 and 1001 West 54th Street. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the signs, both.
I'll second the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So moved. On appeal number 25-22, 2872 West 26th Street, I will make a motion to approve.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? So moved. On appeal number 25-23, 2904 Pittsburgh Avenue, I will make a motion to approve with the following conditions. Number one, the hours of operation, 7:30 to 4:30. They must comply with all Mill Creek Township noise ordinances, and storage of all materials must be indoors. Do I have a second?
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? So moved. Appeal number 25-24, 1727 Hillborn Avenue. Do I have a motion?
I'm making a motion to approve that.
I will second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? So moved. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
I will second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved.